beyond the Bonny road. Is that the company we want to kill because we want to please NDDC? 3%, a fraction of an hour, it will not get to Bonny.
What makes you think that 3% is going to kill NLNG?
Thank you very much. Now, you see, that will take us to the NLNG Act. The NLNG Fiscal Incentives, Guarantees and Assurances Act. If you look at that act, I have it here. For over 3 months, I've been studying this act. And what I discovered about this act, by the way, people will say this act is not actually in conformity with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is not correct. This very act came about because we had issues of gas flaring in our hand. For 30 years, for 30 good years, Nigeria was looking at how to stop flaring. How do we stop these Niger Deltans?
Just hold on.
Right.
We'll take a moment and come back so they can...
Okay, thank you.
Oh, just carry on.
All right. Okay, so for 30 years, the government of Nigeria, they were looking how to solve the problem of gas flaring in the Niger Delta. How can the people be inhaling gas for the rest of Nigeria to share revenue? It's an aberration. They said, no, we have to solve this problem. They got stakeholders talking. And NLNG said, if it's the money, we'll have it. However, we need something, an act, to ensure we put down these funds. They said, you need a paper for you to bring down, to stop gas flaring. You have it. So that's how this act started. And as soon as this act came in place, in force, they went to work. They committed, federal government committed about $2.6 billion. NLNG brought about $6-something billion, not NLNG, the stakeholders of NLNG, but about $6-something billion for us to start the trains, 1 to 6 projects. Now, what I discovered was that this same act says that after 10 years, your tax break elapses. With due respect to the House of Reps, I think they erroneously believed that because that very clause of 10 years has expired, therefore the whole act has expired. No. 10 years was what expired. The very core aspect of this act are the assurances and guarantees. And the reason is simple. Gas business is a free market. It's not controlled by any form of OPEC. What it means is that if your gas is cheap, they buy. If it's not cheap, we don't have a market. Now, you ask the question, why would 3% kill NLNG? Isn't it, sir? Now, if the LNG in Angola or Algeria is not doing the kind of CSR that we are doing, you know why they are not doing CSR, most of these LNG companies in other countries? Because they practice through federalism. If you practice through federalism, you will be talking about development CSRs from companies. Because the oil is your own, the gas is your own, you explore and pay tax to the center. So nobody talks about CSR in those countries because they are practicing federalism. That's not the case of Nigeria. Therefore, this NLNG is being burdened with CSR because of our structure, the structure of Nigerian government. We are not practicing through federalism. So when you build in CSR, when you build in other costs and dividends, and you now build in 3%, by the way, this amendment is not just 3%. I must be honest with you. This amendment seeks to expose NLNG to even NIMASA tax levies. It seeks to expose NLNG to even MPA levies. And guess what? Even area boys tax. I won't be surprised if area boys decision NLNG to ask for matching grant.
Okay, Frederick, as we're winding down here, so Bonny Island has 24 hours power.
Yes.
So how have you been able to transform that into wealth creation amongst the youth? And you have a world-class vocational center, that's what you said?
Of course.
24 hours power supply. So
yes.
How have you been able to transform that into wealth creation?
The problem is that we are still looking at issues. We are thinking of how to get our youth exposed to other environment where they have these opportunities to understand that they need to start creating wealth. Because within the environment, besides
How long has NLNG been in Bonny?
It's about 17 years now. 16
And you are just seeking to create awareness among the youth?
No. There was a framework that was actually designed for our youth when the NLNG came. Now, we discussed and they agreed that we should create development centers, which is the BVC, like he talked about. Now, the BVC was actually framed to sustain the LNG requirement, the manpower requirement, and not technically developing other aspects, other entrepreneurship development. Because I looked at that content critically, I realized that entrepreneurship development is not actually tied down in that content at the BVC. Now, so a lot of the work people will have there go to that place to acquire.
So you could say that the BVC is self-serving.
Yes, to sustain the manpower requirement of the NLNG. But unfortunately, LNG has not taken a good position in terms of that school, because they've not been able to employ the graduates who have taken part in writing certain exams there, to employ them as employees of the company. Because that's why it's a challenge for us as a people. But we'll come to that. Gradually we'll come to that. That's why we're saying they should create more jobs and create more outlets for us to actually understand that we need to build capacity to develop ourselves and to develop the community at large. And Niger Delta.
Thank you very much. Cyril?
Yes.
In closing.
In closing?
In closing.
All right.
We've run out of time, so in closing, what are your last thoughts?
Yes, I have two thoughts here. One.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Well, I will want to plead with the National Assembly. Let them follow the procedure in the Act. Invite the stakeholders. Because that very procedure you see in the Act is like the standing order of the National Assembly. It talks about how the Act should be amended. And that's the standing order of the National Assembly. It's contained in this Act. That's the miracle of this Act. Then again, my final word, let them follow the procedure and do the amendment. Then let the National Assembly, I'm pleading with the National Assembly, to go to Bonny and perform oversight function. Let them go and visit that old woman that is nursing the baby that built that Nigeria. When they get there, let them pay a courtesy call on the Amanabo of Bonny. I am sure the king will tell them that recently he lost 8 of his children.
Thank you.
And that's because he does not have a road
Cyril Hart
to his kingdom.
Spokesperson, Bonny Graduates Forum, and Frederick Ezekiel Hart, Chairman, Bonny Graduates Forum. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
I hope these things are resolved for you as speedily as possible. Sunrise will be back for the home stretch. Don't go away.